Boa tarde.
Hello. Hello.
Oi, Jess. E aí, pessoal, tudo bem? Como vocês estão? Preparados para mais um encontro?
Vamos lá, vamos lá.
Sim.
Sejam bem-vindos e bem-vindas. Vamos dar aqueles minutinhos para conectarem o áudio. Sejam muito bem-vindos aqueles que estão chegando agora para mais um encontro do Startup Garagem. Hoje um encontro muito especial. A gente estávamos muito ansiosos por esse dia. Acho que a gente passou um pouquinho desse entusiasmo para vocês ao longo da última semana. Espero que a gente tenha contagiado vocês com essa energia. A gente está muito feliz com o encontro de hoje. Eu vou começando devagar para a gente acolher quem está chegando, mas já vou começando para a gente aproveitar bastante e muito bem o nosso tempo com a Cheryl hoje. Então, vou dar início ao nosso encontro. Então, sejam todos muito bem-vindos, bem-vindas. Eu me chamo Dani Carrion, como vocês bem sabem, e sou membro do Tecnopuc Startups. Nós estamos muito animados com esse encontro e a gente gostaria de agradecer ao Consulado dos Estados Unidos em Porto Alegre por nos oportunizar esse evento incrível com a Cheryl Edison, para vocês, participantes da 10ª edição do Startup Garagem. O encontro de hoje ele é um marco para a longa história do Startup Garagem, que inclui o desenvolvimento de mais de 300 negócios inovadores desde 2015. E eu gostaria de dar algumas instruções aos participantes para que essa experiência seja bem legal e para que vocês entendam tudo o que está acontecendo no encontro de hoje. Então, a Cheryl vai ministrar esse workshop em inglês, e a gente tem o apoio do Robert e da Daniele, nossos intérpretes, para fazer a tradução simultânea para o português. Então, para vocês acompanharem esse workshop em português, vocês devem clicar no ícone Interpretation, no menu inferior do Zoom, isso só no momento em que a Cheryl começar a falar, e escolher o idioma português. Caso vocês tenham alguma dificuldade, o Eduardo, do Tecnopuc, está aqui para ajudar, o Guilherme também pode ajudar vocês, através de uma mensagem privada ali no chat. Então, se vocês tiverem qualquer dificuldade técnica, chamem alguém do Tecnopuc através do chat em mensagem privada. A gente vai ter um momento para perguntas e respostas, e as perguntas elas podem ser feitas em português. Para fazer as perguntas, por favor, só levantem a mão para a gente organizar a dinâmica. E a gente quer agitar também as redes sociais do Tecnopuc com esse grande evento, então compartilhem o encontro de hoje com a hashtag Garagem.
Have the most people watching us so you can share our event on social media.
Então eu quero convidar primeiramente o nosso superintendente de inovação e desenvolvimento da PUC, o Jorge Aldi, para dar as boas-vindas a todos. Aldi, a palavra está contigo.
Muito obrigado, Carrion. Boa tarde a todas, boa tarde a todos. É uma enorme satisfação, senhor cônsul geral dos Estados Unidos, na nossa cidade, em Porto Alegre, Shane, com muita alegria, termos uma nova atividade conjunta com o consulado americano aqui da nossa cidade, aqui no nosso país, a equipe, eu vejo a Sara, vejo a Mariane aqui conosco também, a nossa equipe aqui do Tecnopuc, né, a Carrion, que está coordenando essa atividade, mas vejo também o Guilherme, a Jéssica, da área de startups, o Eduardo, da nossa área de comunicação. Essa é a nossa segunda atividade conjunta, nessas dinâmicas, né, com palestrantes indicados pelo consulado, em nossos eventos, né, especificamente na área de desenvolvimento de startups. Hoje nós temos essa enorme satisfação de receber a Cheryl Edison aqui conosco, né, que é uma referência na área de desenvolvimento de novos negócios, né, de estratégia de novos negócios, no Vale do Silício, né? Essa parceria com o consulado, cônsul, nós valorizamos muito, né? As nossas relações institucionais enquanto universidade com os Estados Unidos são muito importantes, são de longa data, né? No âmbito do Tecnopuc, do nosso Parque Científico e Tecnológico, nós temos o orgulho de sediarmos algumas operações muito importantes de R&D de empresas americanas, como os centros latino-americanos da HP Inc., da HP Enterprise, da ThoughtWorks, o centro de inovação da Microsoft, o centro de formação e capacitação da Apple. Então, nós temos realmente uma relação que muito nos orgulha, antes de mais nada, e que tem propiciado
very proud, and that have provided many opportunities
aos nossos profissionais e ao desenvolvimento da nossa região, e somos muito gratos e reconhecidos por isso, né? Não à toa, os Estados Unidos é a grande referência do mundo todo, né? Desde a década de 50, com a criação do que hoje é o Vale do Silício, né? Na Califórnia. E vocês devem imaginar que esse nome Startup Garagem tem suas inspirações por lá, né?
was inspired from a story that came from there, for sure, right?
Startup Garagem na sua 10ª edição. Nós temos aqui a sede latino-americana, como eu disse, de duas empresas, da empresa que transformou. Tivemos a oportunidade de ter aqui a réplica da garagem lá da HP, quando iniciou suas atividades. Então, isso para nós é de muito orgulho. Então, para encerrar essa apresentação, em nome do nosso reitor, irmão Evilásio Teixeira, que está em uma atividade externa hoje, agradeço muito e, sinceramente, na pessoa do Sr. Coulson, então, Shane Christensen, essa oportunidade de uma nova interação. Muito obrigado, Sr. Cônsul, muito obrigado a toda a equipe do Consulado Americano em Porto Alegre, e muito especialmente a Cheryl, que gentilmente está conosco e vai compartilhar sua experiência e conhecimento. Obrigado.
Muito obrigada, Aldi, pelas palavras. E de imediato eu convido, então, o cônsul-geral do Consulado dos Estados Unidos em Porto Alegre, Shane Christensen, para nos saudar também e apresentar a nossa convidada especial, a Cheryl Edison. É um prazer tê-lo conosco e a palavra é sua, Shane.
Muito obrigado, Daniela e Aldi. Boa tarde a todos e a todas, e muito obrigado por estarem aqui conosco. É prazer estar aqui, realmente. Let me switch to English, if that's okay, as I understand all of you have been told by Mr. Algi and other...
O Aldi e outros líderes aqui da Tech.
Important the English language is for entrepreneurs because of the kind of specialized vocabulary that often goes with this field. And I do believe this session is also being simultaneously interpreted. I want to thank my consulate colleagues and also Technopuki for organizing this event.
Por organizar esse.
So, as the official language adopted in businesses all over the world, English sometimes has words that are not even translated among entrepreneurs. Expressions like business plan, R&D for research and development, even the word startup don't really have easy translations. And I think this is a real sign of how closely connected business and entrepreneurial spirit are to US culture and society. The reality is that entrepreneurship is key to innovation and economic prosperity in the United States and in so much of the world. We, as US diplomats working here in Brazil and around the world, have as a central mission the idea of expanding and broadening the understanding of how entrepreneurial spirit is fostered within our respective societies, including right here in the south of Brazil. So this is why it's really my honor and privilege to be with you this evening at Technopuki, which is a highly regarded center for fostering entrepreneurship and innovation. And Porto Alegre is really so fortunate to have this dynamic and developed tech park inside Puki, which is a widely recognized education institution here in Brazil. So I am so honored to present tonight's speaker, Miss Cheryl Edison. She is what we call a serial entrepreneur, an investor, a global business development strategist, and she's based in one of my favorite parts of the world, San Francisco, California, right next to Silicon Valley. She serves over 100,000 people each year, be they from startups, Fortune 100 companies, investors, property developers, even universities or civic leaders. Her work spans 57 industries across 5 continents. And she's now finally with us in southern Brazil. So Cheryl, thank you so much for agreeing to be with us this evening. We know you have a very busy schedule and are in high demand. So we are very grateful for you attending this workshop.
Tá sempre com a agenda.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I am so happy to be here today. Brazil is one of the countries in the world that I would love to visit. I have never been in Brazil, and I would so love to come and visit you after we get done with all of these restrictions on travel. So I'm happy today to be with you virtually through the powers of the internet. And I just want to greet a couple of people just to say that I see you, Alex. I see you, Andre. I see you, Esther. Thank you for being here, Denelson. Please relate to me. Talk to me today. As we move into this workshop, please don't watch me like I'm on TV. Be together and let's make the most of this time that we have together. Okay, Leonardo, I see you. Hi, Jessica. I want to say that I've seen that everybody has now gotten our hair worked out. So since we're all ready with our hair, let's get going and jump into the presentation today, which is all about Silicon Valley beyond the hype. Beyond the hype. What's real? And what actually can we do wherever we are in the world to make our businesses thrive globally? That's our focus today. So let's jump now into the presentation, shall we? Oh, just a couple of things. If you are with me and you understand what I'm saying and you got it, please do this or this. If you're not, thank you, Daniela. If you're not really sure, you can kind of do this. Or yes, and you can use the emoticons. And if you're like, yeah, I don't know what this lady's saying, you can do this. And I'll pause and we'll speak about it until we're together again. Because this workshop is about really giving you practical information that you can really use. It's not about me standing up here, blah, blah, blah. I really want you to have something to be served by our time together. So please, yes, and no, Cheryl, we don't get it. Okay? Agreed? 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 Are we agreed? Give me a thumb. Okay, we got it. Thank you so much. Thank you for participating. I know. It's hard, but thank you for participating. Let's move now to the slides. Okay, here we go. So as the concept said, I have dedicated my life to creativity, community, and commerce. And what I mean by that is that I have spent all of my time identifying what is it inside of each person that is that spark of creativity that wants to become part of the greater world through community and to be sustainable through commerce. Because as I think we all know, in order for ideas to actually travel the world, they need to be sustainable. And to be sustainable, we often use commerce as a way of transacting and interacting with one another. Ideas span the globe because we are making commerce. And so commerce is a really good way to have what you're thinking about be part of other people's lives. And that's what I've dedicated my life to. Right now, you're going to see a series of highlights on the map and logos from various companies that I've worked with around the world. This slide is really just to give you an idea about the different organizations and the different industries that I've enjoyed contributing to. So, 57 industries, all kinds of continents. I've just been around a while. As we like to say in my team at Edison International, at this point, I'm 120 years old, so I've been around the block a little bit. Today, we're going to be looking at the ecosystems around the world and how we each help entrepreneurs bring to life what's in your thoughts. That's actually what being an entrepreneur is all about, being the founder of a company. When you look at this slide, what you can see are these blobs of color. Those blobs of color indicate where the largest startup ecosystems are in the world and where there are not really startup ecosystems that are recognized yet. Doesn't mean they're not there. It may mean that they're not recognized yet. This is one rendition of the iconic graphic from the United Nations that indicates the top problems in the world. When, as an entrepreneur, we link our businesses to global issues, we are able to then link with other people much more firmly and much more easily. Because at the end of the day, every decision that's made is a combination of what it is that we're thinking, what we can do with our money, and how we're feeling. So, as I often like to say, it's heart, head, handbag. And so these features of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are the fastest way to link your idea to a bigger global issue and to grow your business much more certainly globally. So take a look at those one time and see how can you link your business idea to these concepts. Really, when we link our idea and who we are, to making a business, what we're thinking is, what wants to happen next? What wants to happen next in the world? CEOs, founders, must be able to see around corners to what wants to happen next and to identify that idea and drive towards it. Who do I need to become? Who do I need to become in order to bring to reality my idea? Because growing a business is not really about growing a thing. It's about growing ourselves. We have to develop ourselves in order to grow the business. And every time we are in the moment to grow the business larger, we have to grow. So how can we do that? I'm going to talk now a little bit about how businesses work, just in general, so that we have a firm foundation, that we're all on the same page about how we're talking about things. These are not new ideas. These are ideas you already know. I'm just bringing them to the forefront so that we're all on the same page. What is it that you're offering? Where is it going to be offered? Finally, why are you bothering to offer it at all? Because once you answer those three questions, the question remaining is, why now? Why now? What wants to happen next? Why your idea now? That's the link. So every business is set up in 5 main steps, right? It's pretty obvious. I'm not going to read through these. You all know what they are. I'm just going to speak over them as you read them, if you wish, in Portuguese. Generally speaking, every business in the world is made on the same exact principles. Today, our topic is Silicon Valley beyond the hype. So if all businesses are made like this anywhere in the world, how is it different in Silicon Valley? What's all that hype about? And is there any part of it that we may be able to borrow anywhere else in the world? That's what we'll be speaking about today. Carefully come with me now. Every business grows through 5 main steps. The very first step is that you come up with your idea. The next step is that you decide if it's a product or a service. This is where most businesses fail. Sometimes people think that what they have is a product, when actually what it is a service, or it's a combination business model of product and service. So if you don't get this second step right, the business dies because it can't connect to the right total addressable market. It can't connect to those people who really would want your business. Now, before you get bored, because I'm being really high level in general, give me 3 more minutes. We'll get through the general stuff and we'll dive right into practical steps that you can take. So stick with me, okay? Hang in there. Is everybody doing okay? Are you all right? We okay? I'm seeing nods of yes. Okay, thank you. Step number 3 is measure client response. So in the third step, what's really happening is we're seeing is, well, does our big idea connect with anybody? Does anybody want it? Now, this does not mean that we ask our moms if they think what we're doing is nice. Why? Because your mother loves you. And your mother's going to say that everything you're doing is great, Leonardo. She's going to say, wow, Leonardo, you're amazing. So that's not really who we need to ask. We need to ask a client who pays, because the business comes into existence in the moment anyone pays anything. So we have to measure client response by measuring who buys, how many people buy, what do they pay. Every business in the world pivots, that grows, at step number 4. Pivoting means that what is happening is you suddenly see, oh, that's what my business should really be. That's what it should really be. I'm moving the screen around here to try to see you guys. How is it that what I'm doing could actually be, and we turn into the next level of our business model? And that's called pivoting. That's also where all the resilience happens. You have to be able to move and move towards the real opportunity. Finally, in step number 5, we are persevering or exiting. Exiting means sell the business or merger. Okay, so let's pause for just a minute and see if anybody has any question. I don't think anybody does because everybody's faces look really good. But anybody have any questions for me? Danielson, nothing. Esther's happy. Narjada's happy. Jessica, hi. Everybody's good. Shall we keep going? Okay, let's keep going. Okay. So what are the dynamics of startup success? Now, I'm going to put this up here pretty quickly. Now, this again, it's the same everywhere. What happens is that we have an opportunity to move through these 5 steps. And these 5 steps are basically that we're discovering how to adjust and how to make fit the problem and the solution. We discover if it's a significant problem. We're validating whether it really is a good thing to focus on. In step number 3, we have an opportunity to actually awaken and see with fresh eyes, is what we're focusing on really something that the people we're attempting to sell it to connect with? So we want to see through new eyes or fresh eyes, and those eyes are the eyes of our customers, fresh eyes. In the pivot, we're becoming more efficient. And finally, in the last step, we are really pushing forward into what wants to be in the world. What wants to be? Are we scaling up, or are we just gonna, hang out and have a little business? So let me show you now how this works in the ecosystem, in the world. So here are the elements of ecosystems all over the world. Now, we're not here to talk about how to build the ecosystem. So I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on this. I'm just giving it to you so that you can see how it looks. As you see what's happening in every part of the world where there is an ecosystem, there are these main pieces that all intersect. Begins with your mentality, and that is then fed into the education system. We have to know where is the moment of the market in the startup ecosystem. Do we have available to us all of those services that we need in order to be able to grow our businesses? So there need to be independent contractors. There needs to be a way that we can actually ask for advice and get advice. There have to be things like Startup Garage at Technopuki, which is really for me, it's a bit of a blend between education and market, right? Because what you're doing there is you're getting those things where you get really the opportunity to speak with specialized alliances, people who can really help you to leverage what you know, find out what you need to know, and move to the next level. In most countries where I work, there is a bit of a barrier to success in the setup of the government. Now, I'm saying that just as kind of a fact. I'm not saying it like a judgment. I'm just saying it's where things are at in the moment. In 2019, I worked in 16 countries. So in 16 countries, I was on the ground for a week at a time, working in startup ecosystems. And really what I saw in those places was that most of the problem was between having a startup mentality, having education that actually encouraged the startup mentality. And then in the government, it was really hard to launch your business, really tough to even open a bank account. And so it was very difficult for people to move from an idea into a feasible business. And finally, the thing that all entrepreneurs want to talk about, for which I have a whole series of workshops, how to get money. When you're ready to grow your business, really, you need big money, really. And so now, how do you get it? And there are very specific steps that are taken in all of the countries that have a functional startup ecosystem for how you get the money. Now, yes, it's true that, and let me see if I can switch now to the next slide. These ideas were started in Silicon Valley. And so they've been kind of a pattern that's been used around the world. But how is it that Silicon Valley is a little bit different from other countries? How is it that it's set up in a way that somehow encourages more entrepreneurs? So let's get into it. So in Silicon Valley, the successes are heroes. And people like Mauro Bello, who interviewed me and who did just an amazing job in the newspaper talking about those entrepreneurial opportunities now in Brazil and in the world, they are everywhere and everyone. Everyone is continually hyping everyone else. You can't go to the grocery store without people talking to you about their startup. If you are in a party, everybody's talking about their new great idea. There's a notion in which everyone is always living their dream and bringing their version of what they want to see happen next to the world into reality. And having that notion that whoever you are, wherever you are, you can make great things happen in commerce, that is at the heart of the difference of what it's like to be in Silicon Valley. So I can't get into an Uber and take a trip from point A to point B without the driver saying, and what do you do? Oh, you help people launch businesses? Oh, I have an idea. Oh, will you help me? This is what happens to me every day, because here in Silicon Valley, that is what's happening. And sometimes people say to me, well, where is Silicon Valley? Where is it on the map? And I say, well, it's my couch. Why? Because Silicon Valley is actually just a state of mind. If you have the state of mind that you choose and you can make anything happen, and you're willing to dive into creating a network around you that will support you and make it real, you're from Silicon Valley too. There's nobody standing around asking for your passport, okay? You can have it too. So how does this culture of innovation work? Well, people often say to me, how do we avoid the fear of failure? Fear is energy. You can use fear any way you want. The question is, can you turn the fear into action, not running away, but fear as in taking action to overcome the difficulty? So what we want to do is we want to avoid these approaches that are toggle, yes, no, avoid those. We don't really want to think about winning and losing. We don't want to think about good and bad. And most of all, we don't want to already know. Already knowing is the quickest way to fail. Because in entrepreneurship, we're discovering, we're learning, we're making it up. It's all a test. Everything is a test. And so this notion of fear of failure, I don't really connect with that. Because, I mean, do you have a fear of failure when you're like, I don't know, playing a game? When you're making something up, building a Lego, it doesn't work like that. Experiments are in themselves the path to making what wants to happen next. Like they said, Edison, I have to say that because my last name is Edison. Edison was 10,000 experiments before he made the light bulb. Those weren't failures, those were the path. And so to liberate innovation, what we really want to do is to be playful, to see with fresh eyes. And we want to really discover and to continually be on the journey. Being on the journey is where all the good things happen. So I'm going to give you this little context, and then I'm going to pause a minute before I go on, and to talk to you about how it is that brands are actually grown. Okay, and the reason I'm saying this is because once we can visualize how it is that what we're making relates to the rest of the world. Remember, I was talking about the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. You remember I was talking about that. Well, below that, below those big goals are our humanity. It's our humanity. And our humanity is actually the same everywhere in the world. At the lowest level, we begin with our needs, our needs to be safe, our needs to have, things that are giving us our basics. We have to breathe, we have to have our family. At the next level, we need love and we need to feel like we're belonging. We need next to actually feel like people respect us and they think well of us. And finally, we need to arrive to a level where we can solve problems. Solving problems is basically what an entrepreneur does. We just see a big problem, care about it, and then turn it into a business. That's it. We see a problem, turn it into a business, and continue caring about it. That's it. That's all that being an entrepreneur is. And so we have happiness. This is Maslow's hierarchy. When we actually find that we are connected to our creativity, and when we find that we're solving problems, and that begins with being able to see that we're responsible and we can choose. So I'm not going to jump into this part next, which is really how the whole arc works of getting money in Silicon Valley. I'm going to talk about that next and how the fundraise works. What I want to do now is I want to stop and just see if we have any questions about the general concepts that we've been talking about up until now. So I'm just going to stop sharing for a heartbeat here. How are we doing? How are we doing? Do you have any questions? Got any questions for me? Any questions? No, everybody's kind of watching TV. Vinicius, or Vinic, how do you say your name? Vinicius? Vinicius. No, Vinicius. Oh, Vinicius. Okay. No, something wrong in there. No, listen. If I say it in Spanish, Vinicius.
Yes.
Oh, it's very close to Spanish. Okay, good. All right.
Cheryl, we have a question on chat from Luis. I'm afraid to take bigger steps because my family depends on me. Risking everything is literally losing everything. How can I get over it?
Okay. Great question. What was the name of the person asking?
Luis.
Luis. Is Luis here? Do I see Luis? ¿Dónde estás, Luis? Where are you, Luis? You're not here. I don't see you. It's okay.
Olá. Hi, everyone.
Hola. Hi, Luis. Thank you for showing your face. Wow, what a gorgeous name you have. It's long. Luis Alfredo Godino da Luz. You are of the light. You're Luis of the light. How fantastic is that? This guy's like a character in a novel. Wow. Okay, Luis. So here's the thing, man. We each have a level of risk that we can take at different moments in our entrepreneurial journey. And so we have to measure the amount of risk that it is appropriate to take now. What do I mean? If your family depends on you and you are the breadwinner and you're bringing in the finances to support your family, but you have a big goal and you're wondering, well, how can I have my big goal and also take care of
Objetivo maior, mas também cuidar da minha família.
We have to do the thing that most entrepreneurs do. Honestly, 99% of entrepreneurs. And that is, instead of watching TV on an evening, instead of going and hanging out and having a beer with the guys on an evening, you gotta begin working on your business. So in those moments that would otherwise be used for play, you have to play with your business idea. And that's it. It's not more complicated than that. And so what we do as entrepreneurs is we take care of business and our family. We focus on doing the things that we're doing in our committed lives. And then over here, we start this thing, which is sometimes called a side hustle. I have no idea how you're going to translate that. Side hustle, side business, side gig. Your lights just turned off, huh, Luis? But maybe that's because I could see in your face that you got it. So it's that in those moments, instead of hanging out and having a good time, doing things that are not productively going towards your business vision, you got to hang out and have a good time and go towards your business vision. What do you think? You get it, right? So all I'm going to say is it is not easy being an entrepreneur. It is not for the meek. It is for people who have courage and who are willing to go beyond where others stop. And this is one of those ways where we have to find the way. It'll be 1 foot on land and 1 foot on the boat, which is your new business, until you get to the place where the boat can really sail. And then you can get entirely in the boat. Okay? I can see from your face that you got it. Anybody else have another question before we jump along? Oh, you have a question?
Vinicius?
Could I, in English, please? I'm sorry. Hi, Cheryl. First of all, my English, it's kind of good to travel, but maybe not to ask a question, but here you go, okay? I want to say that, first of all, I envy you because you live in San Francisco or nearby, and I've been there twice, and it's kind of my favorite city in the world. So yeah, you are in a good place. My first question is, could you give me an advice on how to grow a startup in a closed market, like a clinical trial, for example? That's my business, and pharmacy industries and that kind of market. And if you permit me a second one, I'm a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, and I'm curious about how you work with Weta Workshop. And if you could tell me a little about that.
Okay. So I'll start with a little funny story first about Weta Workshops. So I don't know how long ago it was. So in one of my prior incarnations in a previous life, I did a lot of work in entertainment. So I basically worked with Warner Brothers for 10 years, and I did a lot of styling on camera for television shows and ads and all those sorts of things, where I would create the scene that was then used for visual cues to achieve marketing and sales goals. And I did that for like 10 years. I did that for a long time. And then some years later, I began working with actors, and I represented actors, and I helped actors turn their creativity into business. Probably the most famous actor that I ever worked with was a guy named Stefan Carl Stephenson. And if you know Lazy Town, if Lazy Town, a kid's show, is in your city, Robbie Rotten is Stefan Carl. And if you know about the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, that's Stefan Carl. And so he was my guy, he was my actor. And so I got very involved in entertainment. And along the way, I launched an entertainment company. And so my company was called Creatopia. And this is like a while ago, right? And I was speaking at these, I was speaking in Cannes, and I was speaking about how the entertainment industry was changing. This is way back. I mean, this is like you weren't even born yet, when it was all about like, pirating songs and how the business models are changing and gaming was about to be a bigger market than film. I mean, this is like, obviously, that's obvious now, right? Obvious. But back then it was like, oh no, it'll never happen. TV and film, they're the kings. Anyway, so I did a deal for content. I did a content deal with a guy named Martin Boyner, who was part of Weta Workshop, and I was producing kids shows. And that's the relationship. Did that answer your question? Long story, but that's the relationship. We as entrepreneurs often evolve ourselves and move from industry to industry, from thing to thing. That's actually part of how it works. We reinvent ourselves. And, I began my work in Barcelona, Spain, when I was 17 years old. And it was there that I got my first real job. And that was, beauty and fashion. I was working for a founder there who had this idea that he wanted to be beyond the borders of Spain and to move into the rest of Europe. And so I spent almost 8 years with him, Luis Jongueras, opening operations for him in 13 countries across Europe. And that's how I learned to do what I do. That's how I learned. So now your second question. So let's see if I can get into it. So your second question is how to operate in what you're calling a closed market. Okay. Throw away the word closed. Number one, just throw away the word closed, because actually there's no such thing. No such thing. Because you have an opportunity to turn a wall into a window. You can turn a window into a door. So all you really have to have is a functional business model that actually provides something that's real, that actually has value. And even the largest incumbents will not be able to ignore you. So don't focus on the barrier. Focus on the goal. Focus on the goal. You'll find a way up, over, around, or through. I'm sorry to the translators. That was so too fast. You'll find a way if you stay focused on the goal. And if you like Vinicius, contact me, something. El español ayuda de vez en cuando. If you contact me on LinkedIn, I'll send you a little Calendly invite and we can talk for 20 minutes, you and me, just about this topic. And we'll go deeper into the topic. It'll be fun. It'll be good. We'll have a good time. So The main thing is attitude. Attitude. Your attitude is to keep an eye on the goal. That's the attitude. That's the Silicon Valley mindset. And I invite everyone here to have it. Thank you for your good questions, Vinicius. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else, or shall we move along? Anybody else? Da-da-da-da-da. Everybody looks great. Wow, Salisa, you're wearing a face mask. You must be in a room with a bunch of people. Are you good? Hi.
Hi, thank you. Yes, I am with my friends and friends of my mother's here. So I need to use face because my friend it's old and has 70 years old. So it's for precaution. Yeah.
Good on you. Thank you for doing that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you for doing that. That's lovely. Yeah, great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, so do we have any other questions? I want to pause a minute and thank the team at the consulate, at Technopuki, the translation team, Robert and I don't remember. Daniele, for the good work. I know it is exhausting, and I really appreciate your time and attention. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's move along to some more slides now, shall we? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here's what I want to talk to you about now. One of the things that makes it harder to grow a business big and strong and quickly is a misunderstanding around how businesses grow and how they take in money and when they take in money. Now, look, guys, this is complicated. This is like a crazy complicated slide. It's got too much stuff on one slide. I know that. You can take a picture of it with your camera if you want. But basically, here's what's going on here. What's going on in this slide is showing you how at each moment of the growth of your company, there are different ways in which the company is financed. There are different ways in which you're engaging with the world. Let me talk you through it just a little bit. So here in the idea phase, it's normal that you pay for everything yourself, that your friends and family are really the only ones who are helping you. By the time you get to the place where you have a product or a service and you really have something that people can see, that's when it begins to be possible to enter into the bigger incubator accelerators or to do crowdfunding. Many crowdfunding platforms will allow you to crowdfund, even if you just have an idea and a picture of what it'll be. Many entrepreneurs fund their idea by putting just a picture of it on the crowdfunding platform and then collecting the money and delivering it. Everybody knows that. Leonardo and Alex are shaking their head. Yes, you guys know this. So it's true. It is true. It is how it works. However, you have to be really careful that you are able to produce the thing. So I'm leaning in and I'm saying that very carefully. Please don't ruin it for everybody else by promising to make something which you then don't know how to figure out how to make. Please be careful. Please be careful. If you're offering something, even if it will be delivered in 3 weeks or 3 months, be prepared to deliver it. Here in step number 3, when you're measuring, when you're measuring client response, you're really having this kind of organic growth and you're setting up joint ventures, franchising. In this moment, it's often to get bank loans for working capital. Notice I'm spending a lot of time talking about where you get money from, because in other parts of the world that are not Silicon Valley, there tends to be a bit of a confusion around how you get money to grow your business. You may not have this confusion. I'm just laying this out as kind of a foundation because I'm showing you how it works in Silicon Valley. That's just how it works there. So again, idea, it's your own money, your family. When you get the product, basically crowdfunding, or it's still your own money. It's bootstrap. Number 3, you're going to sell stuff. Sell, 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 sell. If you're not selling in the 3rd step, you got nowhere to go anyway. Sometimes you can build your business from joint ventures or from alliances, but if you're not selling anything or grabbing more people around you, building your community, remember that idea, creativity, community, commerce. If you're not growing your community, you got nothing worth investing in. You haven't proven yourself. And then when we pivot, we're moving to the larger opportunity. There are lots more risk funding to be had in all kinds of forms when you're ready to go to business model 2.0. And then in the last step, we're really looking for ways that we can walk away from the business somewhat, because even if you sell your business or you IPO and bring it public, usually you'll still stay as the CEO of the business for like 3 years. You may even retain stock because the people who may be buying the company want you to have skin in the game. So even if you exit, so to speak, you're still there. You're still part of it. You're still part of it. So let me go on to this next one. And I want to talk just a teeny bit more about amounts. This is another way that I'm just showing you what happens beyond the hype. So each stage has an amount of money that is typical to raise. Each stage of the business is more likely to attract a certain kind of money. So as you see here, in the first stage, it's usually like angel money, if you can get it, which would be like, it depends on the country economy. For instance, I work in Uganda, there it could be $100. Here in San Francisco, in Silicon Valley, it's more likely that seed money is $100,000, but it varies by the economy. In the second step, it's typically a move towards 3 million, third step 3 to 5, pivot 5 to 25 million, and finally in the bouncing out, any number is the game. Okay, so finally, this is the last slide about funding, really, and how it works. I'm just going to put the whole thing up so that you can see it. And then we'll talk through it a little bit, just because I think it will be helpful to you if you can see the whole thing at once. Okay, look, guys, really focus. When you're at the idea stage, most people in Silicon Valley try to get into this VC-backed model. Everybody bootstraps in the beginning. Then you move on to the other stages that I just described, okay? And when you go through these stages, what you're really getting to is the seed stage, Series A, the bank, Series B, C, D, and then you exit. If you're bootstrapping completely, you really don't look for money until you're way along the line. See where you are? You're selling a lot. You're much further along the line. And then blended, which actually is this is the way that the people I work with typically move, is a blended model. And in the blended model, what we're doing is we are using our own resources. We're using those relationships that we have with people that know us and trust us. And we're also reaching out to a broader network to create more cash opportunity, more cash opportunities. I'm going to pause now and see if anybody has any questions on this. We're about 2/3 of the way through the deck. And I just want to pause and see if anybody has any questions here. Any questions here? I know that's a lot of information. That was like a ton of information. Generally, what I just wanted you to see is that the pattern of growing the business is the same anywhere in the world. And it's really just a question of the pattern of how you grow the business and bring money in. That is the hype of Silicon Valley. That's actually the hype. Because in Silicon Valley, there is a whole system that's very well developed for bringing in support and money. Is all of this becoming clear? Is it clear the way it all relates? How are we doing? Are you kind of getting it, or is it still foggy? Well, Esther gets it. You kind of get it. So basically it begins with your frame of mind. You choose, you can do anything. And then the system of growing the business through those 5 steps has points of support everywhere along the line. And that's the hype of Silicon Valley. That's the hype. That's behind the hype, beyond the hype. Okay? I see people with very serious looks on their faces. I really want to ask Jessica. Would you please tell me what you're thinking, Jessica? What is it that's worrying you? I see this kind of worry on your face. What are you thinking? Can you tell me?
Me?
Yeah.
Which one? Which
Yeah,
Jessica?
You.
We have 2 Jessicas.
Jessica Monteavaro Garbin.
Okay. Well, I'm still thinking about it because our startup is on the tourist market, and I came from a fintech, and there they used to have the VC banking model, and I'm still thinking if this is healthy for the market, because you have a lot of money coming in and you never give money back, you know? I don't know if I'm not saying never, but it's hard to give back the money to return the money to the investors for a long time. You have to wait a long time to return the money, you know? They got a lot of Series A, B, and still don't have like returning, or I don't see that, or I don't understand how it works. Yeah.
Okay. I should find another slide to show you how it works. But the bottom line is, this is how it works. When VCs invest, they say that they want to get their money back in 3 years. That's not true. They get their money back in 10 plus years. Okay, so the truth is that it's 10 years. Okay, the typical growth model is 10. Why? Because if you stop, I see you, Paula. I'll talk, Paulo, I'll speak with you next. The growth model for really growing a business to the point where you can get 10 times the amount of money that you put in, it's going to take 10 years. Not usually going to take 3 years. So the way that risk capital really works at the VC level, when they want such a multiple on how much they put in, is really at the 10-year mark, if at all. If at all. Does that clarify things for you?
Yeah, but I don't understand why it's still I don't know how to say, they still have the Series A, B, C, and the money is growing, and every time is bigger, the amount of money, but the returning is expected for like 10 years from the Series A or B or C. I don't understand that. Or because they don't have like the same investors every time. They have like more investor every series. So right. I don't understand how it works.
Okay. So I wish I had this other slide to show you. I might go hunting for it in a minute. So let me show you something. Let me see if I could find that slide. But wait a minute, let me just share this one screen and see if I can make it a bit more clear to you, because I do think this is a really important question. So you see here, whoopsie, come back. Whoopie, sorry about this, guys. I'm going the wrong way in my deck. Okay, here we go. So here's basically what happens. You put money, let's talk about it here in this area, just VC, because that's where your question is. You put your money in, right? You put in your money. Then you get some outside money. Well, you get your outside money, but you're not sending money back out because you need the money to grow the business, right?
Right.
Yeah. Then you have proven, see this little flaggy here?
Yeah.
This flag is a milestone. So you achieve a milestone, that is that you prove that you're growing in the direction you intend to grow, and that makes more people with more money go, wow, I'm interested in these people. Let's give them some more money because they've hit their first 2 milestones. Let's give them some more money and see if they hit a 3rd milestone.
But I'm not returning the money. I'm just like growing with clients. Okay.
I'm growing because you see up here, idea, product service, measure client response, pivot. What does all this say? Crecer vendas, crecer alianzas, grow sales, grow alliances, right? So from the moment you actually hit the pivot and you actually have a viable business model that can grow and deliver big global returns, that's when you're commanding more attention. And so you're balancing between taking money in so that you can feed the machine of growth. Oh, wait, I have a great slide to show you. Hang on, I know where that slide is. Just a moment, just a moment. Hang on, little doggies, let me get this. Just a second. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. Here, this slide is gonna help you. Just a moment. Okay. Do you see my screen?
No.
Oh,
No.
Oh, it stopped. That means that the share screen stopped. Hang on a minute. We're going to get there. This is going to help you. Just a moment. I got to click all the right buttons here. Not my specialty. Clicking buttons is not my specialty. Here we go. Share. Okay. Let's do this. Come back. Let me move this thing out of the way. Let's take this. Sorry, the button clicker. I feel like a little mousey in a cage. Okay, here we go. Look at this. Okay, check it out. When you are growing your business, you're balancing what's happening internally with what's happening externally. So when in the internal parts, you actually need more money in order to lower the cost of your goods sold. And to augment your efficiency, you actually have to have more team at a higher level that do more things. So when you first begin your startup, it's not efficient. You're doing everything. You're running around. You can't get to the time to do everything you have to do. But as you grow your business, you're actually building a money machine. And that money machine needs money in order to make it bigger. Is that helping?
Sure.
So then what happens is, as you're growing inside the business, there become forces from outside the business, which is stuff like, well, are people actually buying it? Do the users love it? Are they delighted with it? Is the revenue growing? And so we have to balance those two things. And the idea or the core concept that needs to be in your mind for this to all hang together is that VCs and people that invest understand that if they don't invest in the internal, the external effect cannot grow. Are you with me now?
Yeah, I got it. But is there any time that, like a specific time that I started giving back the money? Like after 10 years, I monthly pay the investors or something like that?
Okay. So here's the other piece that's not making sense to you that I'm going to explain. When you start your business, you have to have the legal structure to start the business to take money in. And that legal structure is completely different than just you and your girlfriend at the kitchen table. It's a different structure. It's a structure whereby when people put money in, they get a chunk of the business. They own a piece of the business. And that piece is called equity, not partner.
Not partner? Okay.
Not partner. Partner is the people that you bring in that operate the business with you. People who put money in get shares. And those shares can be voting shares on your board or not. They can be silent or they can be active. Typically what happens is the more money that somebody puts in, the more voting rights they want. So be clear. One thing is the daily operations, and the other is money that helps the business grow. And they're not usually the same thing. So in order to give those people who put money in some level of control and some level of oversight, what happens is you have a board and they get a seat on the board where they get to have an opinion and they get to vote on what you do next or what you don't do next.
Got it.
So in that structure, you can decide in your operating agreement, you can decide if you want to pay quarterly dividends. In that way, people who have shares of the business can get some money back. But it's not typical when you're a startup. You're not paying dividends. You're not paying out. When you're using the money, you need the money to grow the business. I see from your smile that you're getting it. You're getting it, yeah?
Yeah, like my friend said to me, I'm looking to 2030. Yeah. I'm not living in 2021. I'm living in 2030.
That's right. Well, that's right. It's not there, but there's no need because it's kind of like saying, well, you know, I'm pregnant. Can't we just open it up and take a look and see how it's doing? No, you can't open it up and take a look and see how it's doing. You got to leave it in there and grow all the way before you give birth to it. You can't just like open up and take a look. No, it doesn't work like that. I mean, that's a little graphic. What about if you're baking a cake? If you were baking a cake in an oven and you open the oven, it would make the cake fall. Oh, let's open the oven and take a slice of the cake now. Well, how's that going to work for your final cake? That's not a good idea. You see what I mean?
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, don't open the oven. Let it bake. Okay. Let it bake. Okay.
Cheryl,
Yeah.
Paulo had to leave, but we have a question.
Yeah.
Lucas have a question. What are VCs normally looking for in a startup?
This is a massive question. What am I going to do with this question? Okay, I tell you, I actually have a slide that that we can run through, and maybe what we can do is, well, two ideas. One is we can deal with this topic more fully another time, so that's a possibility. And then the other thing is that you can come to the AMA on Thursdays at 11 on Facebook, and I can answer more. But for now, let me just give you a little bit of an overview of what it is that they're looking for. I have a slide for this. So just a moment. Let us go to the slide. Now, I want to be clear on our time. I see that it's about 10 after. I think I have about 15 more minutes. Is that right? Do I have about 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Cheryl.
I think we're going to get there. Okay, here we go. Take a look at this. Bonkity bonk, bonk, bonk. Let's go here. Hang on, Mr. Slides. Hang on. I got to pull out here so I can find the slide that you want to hear about. Just a moment. Finding the slide of importance. Just a minute. Here it is. There we go. Okay, I found the slide. Sorry, this is so, you probably are not even seeing it though. Let's share my screen. Share. I'm learning, guys. I'm learning. It all takes time. Here we go. And then move this over here. Then we click this button over here. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. What they first want to know is, do you really have a problem that's worth solving? That's what they want to know. Are you focusing on a problem that anybody could really care about? So here's one of those words, care. So are you focusing? Remember we talked earlier about the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations? Well, they want to know, does anybody care about this problem that you are attempting to solve? And then they want to know, is it like the best solution? Is it a solution that's really going to be better than what there already is? They want to know, can you make it into a business model that's going to give any money back? What does your team look like? Honestly, people invest in people. So I'm going to say that again. People invest in people. Everything else doesn't really matter. So they're investing in you and your team. Then they want to know, is your timing actually in the moment that the market will take advantage of what it is that you're saying? And finally, can it actually grow? Can it really grow? And then their concerns are these. Oopsie, come back. They want to know, is the problem too complex and will they have trouble with it? Are you collaborative? That is, are you somebody who'll take ideas and do something with them? Now, here's one of these words that we didn't find a translation for, coachability. And coachability basically means, are you willing to face notions that you don't agree with and potentially take on new ideas and execute on them? This means, are you coachable? And finally, is it a good use of their money? Is it an efficient way for them to use their money? So that's what they want to know. How was that? Daniela, are we good?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, great. So that's basically how it works. That's basically how it works. So we have about 15 minutes left, and I want to go ahead and oh, Lucas. Okay, Lucas, thank you. I'm seeing we have a lot of chats down there. It's nice. Okay, hi, Gabrielle. Hi, Janaina. Hi, Janaina. Manu. Jordi, you must be Jorge. You must be Jorge if you're Jordi, I would guess. I don't know. Okay, let's go on and do the last bit of slides here, and then we'll close out with a final Q&A. Okay, we're going to close out with a final Q&A. Let's see if we can quickly get through the rest of these slides. I'm thinking I'm going to go quickly so that we can get them. Oh, Gabrielle has a question. Do you need that question now? After you want it. Okay, fine. Got it. Okay, let's go back to the deck. I think I might. Yeah, I think I might skip ahead a little bit here, guys, because I don't think we're going to get through all of these lovely slides. So let's skip ahead. So let's go back. Okay, so here we have. So one of the things that VCs do look at is that they are identifying what is your leadership style. Now, they want to know what your leadership style is because they're really clear that there are certain leadership styles that succeed more than others in startups. So what are those styles? So these are the characteristics of leadership styles. And generally speaking, you get great team members over here and over here. That is when somebody's like stable and people are compliant. Those are great team members. But if you want to have a startup be led, you actually want to stay over here and being with a person who's very convincing and very persuasive. The old style was to be dominant. And so dominant's okay. Like if you can tell people what to do, it's good. But the current businesses that really lead well or are led well are over here in being influencers. Notice again that what we have here is this introverted and extroverted on either side. And so to our friend who at the beginning of this workshop talked about needing time for his creativity, what I recommended to you, and I just want to show it to you here on this slide, is that in order to get your time to be introverted and to create, you need to get communicative and to get persuasive by being extroverted. And then you can go back to being introverted. But in order to actually lead, you're going to have to develop yourself. Remember, we spoke about who do I need to become? You're going to need to move yourself to be more of an influencer and more of a leader that can be hierarchical, which you probably already are. It's just that in this moment, in this key moment, you have to actually do this with your family, which is often a big challenge, Okay, so now we talked already about how startups fail. I'm going to give you a little peek into how company value is made. So previously it was all about what the thing is, what it is. And since 2015, it's very clearly shown that it is what the brand is. So the intangible is the brand. The tangible is the actual thing. So as we grow our businesses, we have to grow our brands. And how does that work? Well, take a look. This is a polyester t-shirt. Can somebody just call out how much a polyester t-shirt would cost in the city where you are?
$30, 30 reais.
Okay, great. And here is a cotton t-shirt. Can somebody call out what a cotton, very well stitched t-shirt would cost where you are?
Around 40?
Same person. Thank you for calling out. Around 40.
Maybe 80.
Maybe
90.
80. Yeah, it's typically double. It's typically about double. Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, now tell me, what would it cost to buy this branded cotton t-shirt where you are?
I don't think that we have Chanel t-shirt here.
In the airport.
Maybe five times higher the price.
Maybe 5 times. In the airport. It's always in the airport. In the airport.
The airport is more.
Yeah, in the airport store. Yeah. So again, there's not a lot of difference here between this t-shirt, which is cotton, and this t-shirt, which is the same cotton t-shirt, but with the Chanel brand on it. But 5 times as much. So that's the value of brand. That's the value of brand. So I want to talk just very briefly, and we're not going to go into this slide. I'm just going to talk over it for just a second. Basically, there are very simple systems that everybody uses everywhere in the world for building the business and getting money to grow the business. This is a deck. So a deck is one of the standard things, and this is one of the standard layouts. Each of these little bubbles is a page of the deck. And so this is just a standard way. I'm just going to get a little drink of water. Just a second. Thank you. So when you start growing your global business, it's important to grow your business and speak about your business. Communicate about your business in ways that are standard through the global business community. And so you need your elevator pitch, you need your deck, you need your executive summary, you need these basic things, which is what everybody uses. And so I'm really glad that you're at the Startup Garage, because I'm sure that they're going to get into this, because this is what you have to have when you're growing the business. So the other thing that's really important is to have a network. So women are particularly susceptible to not growing the business network, and men are typically susceptible to growing their business network, but not using it to stretch themselves. Stretching is really important with your network, because when you do stretch with your network, when you grow with your network, then you can grow through those moments of uncertainty, those moments of incerteza, which we all have as we grow our business. So please think about your network, think about joining your network and using your network to grow yourself and your business. Again, we have the Edison Forum. So here's a very funny slide. So this slide, okay, we're in a down economy, right? We're in a tough time. People say, oh, it's a tough time. It's a terrible time. Very difficult time. Well, guess what? These companies were all pivoting and growing in a down market. So let that sink in for just a moment. These companies were all grown in a down market. They just had a big vision and they executed on that big vision. So if they can do it, you can too. You know, at the end of the day, we as entrepreneurs, we're here because we want to be part of growing into what wants to happen next. We have ideas. You have ideas that the world needs in order to be the world that we all want to live in. And so the question is, what wants to happen next? Again, the question always comes back to each of us. I'm sorry, guys, my throat is just like. And so who do we need to become? And how can we become that person facing what it is that we need to learn and then learning it as quickly as possible through all level of experimentation? Because it's only through experimenting that we can figure out who it is that we need to become. At its core, it's the power of choosing. Being an entrepreneur means having an I choose mindset. Whether you are in a company as an entrepreneur, or whether you're a gigpreneur where you're freelancing. I'm going to slow down a minute because these are tough kind of words. So entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur, but operating inside a big company or inside the government. Being a gigpreneur, meaning you're selling projects one by one by one. Or if you're going to be an entrepreneur launching your own business, the core concept is that you want to be in a mentality in which I choose, you choose, because all of the power is in the power of knowing that you're responsible and you choose. As we move into the moment of growing our businesses and seeking funding, we may end up at a table that looks like this. Now, I don't look like the people at this table. And many of you in this meeting today don't look like the people at this table. And so I have created a little system to help you do well at this table. I call it the lipstick factor. Now, you don't have to wear lipstick in order to use this factor. What it really means is that before walking into that room and up to that table, take a moment. Compose yourself. Set intention. When you walk up to the table, pick the seat. Don't be told where to sit. Pick your seat at the table. And then begin to watch the dynamic, the interplay of energies and people at that table so that you can see who has what power, who's making which decisions. Hold the space as your space. This is now your space. and get the result. Get the result you went there to get. So how do we make our mindset grow faster? How can we scale our mindset? Well, the first thing is that we have to choose. We have to choose our own attitude. We have to explore as if for the very first time. We have to define the spaces in which we work and not agree that there are any spaces closed to us if we are choosing them. We have to let go of any idea of what we thought was real before and note our own rhythms. We each have a rhythm, and we have to honor those rhythms when we can create and when we need to pause, when we need to engage and when we need to take a step back and look at the landscape. We have to use all of our 6 senses. We have to see and hear and smell, and also to imagine with our spirit and use our intuition to know what will happen next. Reflect in silence, because that's where our wisdom is. And, take note. Take note. When we have been playful, when we've reflected in silence and we take note, we can choose gratitude and we can be resilient. And by choosing gratitude and being resilient, we have the ultimate opportunity for ourselves to make creativity, to make community, and to make commerce as we each see it should be, as it can be in our one world. Thank you.
Thank you, Cherry.
Thank you so much. Gabriel, you had a question?
Yes, hi Cheryl, thank you so much for this conversation. I'm very glad to be here. And first of all, sorry for my bad English, I'm trying. And my name is Gabriel, I have 16 years old, and I have a question about you, Cheryl. During your life, did you have mentors? If so, how they are important to you and what you think about them?
Okay. In this moment, right here, right now, you are my mentor. So, Gabrielle, you're 16 years old. You chose to raise your hand before we finished the last section. You then communicated to me with hand signals that you would go after. And now you have asked your question. You have just taught me a lot. You've taught me something that's important about how to be part of the team and also how to lead. You've taught me how to lead from anywhere in the room. And you've taught me how to be gracious and to be who I am in my fullness, because you didn't say, sorry, I'm only 16. You said, I'm 16 and I have a question. And so I've learned a lot from you in these 90 seconds of coming in contact with you. And so having a mentor is all about having a mentor in each moment.
Yes, of course. Thank you for your response. No, sorry. Pela sua resposta. Os tradutores vão me ajudar.
For your answer, the translators will help me here.
Yes. So I also do want to say that getting a coach, getting an advisor, getting a formal mentor is really important. And in fact, having a mentor to whom you can tell your challenges to, and who then says, have you tried this? And who allows you the space to say aloud what's concerning you, it's actually one of the keys to success. And I have had many, many mentors along the way, but it's also an attitude because, for instance, Gabrielle, I have in my team, I have a gentleman whom I enjoy very much in my team. His name is Gabrielle, and he is from South Sudan, and he is a refugee in Uganda. And I learn from him every day because I pause and I ask him questions about what he's thinking. And I ask him questions about what he's thinking about what I'm doing, because he is my mentor in the country of Uganda by being himself. So it's an attitude. Did that work for you?
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, good, good. Okay, hello, hello, hello.
Hello, Terry.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm really glad to be here too. I just have one quick question for you. What's your advice when we listen and a no in this, for example, that we have a no in our life, like entrepreneurship, empreendedor, empreendedores. Listen and know. What's your advice?
I don't understand the question.
Her question is, how do you react when you get a no? And you're an entrepreneur and then you get a no. So how do you report? How's
great.
your suggestion?
Great. I love no's. I love no's.
Okay.
No's are great. No's are fantastic. I see Nadine laughing. Nadine, your smile is the best in the room, for gosh sakes. I love seeing you smile. Thank you. So a no is a very big gift. We as entrepreneurs will die from slow maybes. We die with a slow maybe. A no gives us an opportunity to say, thank you. Can you tell me more about why you're saying no? I would love to learn what you're thinking so that I can understand. Would you tell me more about what you're saying no to? And oftentimes, what the person is saying no to is not actually what you're offering them. And there's a gap in which you need to educate them without being defensive on what it is that you're actually offering. And so when there is a no, Janaína, we have to move towards the no and explore the no and learn from the no. Oftentimes when we hear a no, we're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? No, we have to say, thank you. How can I understand you better? What would you say yes to? So move towards the no. Does that help?
Thank you very much.
Will you try that the next time you get a no?
Yes, of course.
Really? Promise?
Yeah.
Okay, will you send me a note on LinkedIn the next time you do and tell me what happens?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Please.
And I follow you in Instagram too.
Oh, Instagram.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, Instagram. Yeah, my team. Yesterday, they put up a carousel with all these blinking lights. I'm like, what are these blinking lights? And my team is like, you have to put the blinking lights now. Everybody likes them. I'm like, oh my God, blinking lights on the, I don't like. Anyway. Okay, Instagram.
Thank
So
you.
we put a lot of stuff on Instagram. And sometimes we offer freebies on Instagram. We offer like free workshops or sessions. So thank you for following on Instagram. We're growing it. We're growing it. Denelson. Thank you, Janaína. Denelson, you want to ask something? Are you next? Mr. Denelson Falkenberg, I think it's your turn to speak. You have to take off your mute, sir. You're muted. Nee.
Hello. Oi.
Yeah, great.
Prazer falar contigo. Obrigado.
It is a pleasure to talk to you. And thank you for your workshop, for being so nice. It's perfect. So here's my question. In Brazil, sometimes Brazilians are treated in a way where we have a culture that maybe procrastinates on problems. We try to find alternative ways. bend the rules and not seen so simple, because we're famous for kind of bending the rules. Yesterday, the Pope said that we drink a lot of booze and there's no solution for us. The Pope said that yesterday about us.
Really? Wow.
So how do you see Brazilians? Do you see differences in projects that are being conducted by Brazilians versus projects that are being developed by those of developed countries?
Wow. Well, boom, Danielson. That was a big question, my friend. Boom. Hi, Nadine. You're going to be next. No, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect. Okay, so look. Everyone has a right to have an opinion. They can have whatever opinion they wish. And an opinion is not the person. An opinion is a thought. So it's a thought. Now, I can love a person and disagree with their opinion, right? So the Pope, fantastic, great guy, apparently, wonderful dude, has an opinion. I don't have to agree with his opinion. It's okay. It's an opinion. It's not him. You see what I mean? And so, and information and my reaction are two different things. Let's say the Pope says, as you said, and I didn't know he said this, but anyway, the Pope says, Brazilians drink too much and there's no hope for Brazilians. Okay, fine. That's what the guy says. Did he, if he really said that? Okay, he said that. Then, well, Brazilians drink no hope. These are three separate pieces in that sentence. Brazilian, I've always had good experiences with Brazilian people. Drink, I've never had a drink with a Brazilian person. Not my reality. No hope. Every Brazilian I have met is the most hopeful, light-filled, visionary. I mean, it's amazing the level of creativity in every Brazilian person I have ever met. Now, here's this dude, has a lot of power, apparently said whatever it was that you heard. Now, that thing that he said came at you like this, and it hit you. But you know what? Don't let it hit you. You are the one who's choosing that it hits you. It doesn't have to hit you. Just because he threw that remark doesn't mean that it hit you. And it doesn't mean that you have to react to it. It just was thrown. That's his remark that he threw. Love the Pope? Love the Pope. Agree with his opinion? No. Does that answer your question? Half. So let me just say a little bit more about Brazilians and my experience with Brazilians. So this is a very funny kind of a thing. It's a little story, little story. And then we're going to go to you, Nadine. I'm looking forward to speaking with you. Oh, Nadine, probably. We have a lot of people here in San Francisco, in Silicon Valley, from Brazil. A lot of people. And actually, a lot. And of course, I have had a very, very dear friend who came, well, she wasn't a friend at first. I met her through blah, 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 who stayed here in my house. I live in a duplex. And so for a while, I gave her the apartment downstairs where she stayed. Her name is Daniela. So shout out to Daniela, who came to study at the University of California, San Francisco. And at that point, I was working with a scientist at the University of California, San Francisco. And she is a scientist from Brazil. And she was looking for a place to stay. So I gave her my apartment for a time. And I became friends with her. And I fell in love with, let's see if I can say it correctly, pão de queijo. Okay, so I now eat pão de queijo probably every week, which Daniela introduced me to, which Daniela showed me how to make. And so I'm just going to tell you that here in Silicon Valley, when I get into an Uber, 75% of the time, the driver is from Brazil. Okay, and all of those drivers, they all have a business idea. So when I told the story earlier about those people who drive and they say in like the 3-minute drive or the 10-minute drive that they have their business idea and they want to talk about, they're all from Brazil. They are from Brazil. So I'm going to tell you that the people that I have come in contact with from Brazil are incredibly loving, caring, creative, smart, entrepreneurial. I mean, now is the time to be from Brazil. Now is a great time to be from Brazil and to launch your business. So that is my opinion, Denilson Falkenberg of Brazil and Brazilians. I'm not the Pope, but that's my opinion, and I'm standing by it. Okay, he likes the answer. So Nadine, it's your turn. Hello.
Oi, tá ouvindo?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
So, Cheryl, I'm very glad to hear your workshop. And thank you for your compliment on my smile. And I also come from the state of Minas Gerais, where pão de queijo comes from. So I would like to thank you about this workshop and about the fact that when you answer the question about having the family and being an entrepreneur, and that we also need to dedicate ourselves in our spare time. I've been doing that. I know it's very tiresome, but you gave me hope. And as to hearing no's, I also get very frustrating when I get a no, and it was good to hear your advice. So I would like to thank you for your advice.
Thank you, Nadina. But do you have a question? Is there any question? Is there anything I can contribute to you and your success? What can I offer you?
No, just wanted to compliment you.
Oh.
And I'm afraid. What can you tell me about being afraid?
Okay, good question.
I get sometimes apprehensive about what to do.
Great question. Fear. So here's fear. Here's a thing to understand about fear, Nadina. So fear is energy. It's an energy. It's powerful energy, very powerful energy. It may be the most powerful energy that we as humans can produce because it links into our adrenaline system. Okay, so one of the things that happens when we become fearful is that we have that moment in which we want to just run away and get away from whatever is making us afraid. That's the adrenaline working. But here's the opportunity in fear. Adrenaline, which is what the body produces when you have fear, also clears your mind and causes you to be able to think better and more clearly and deeply, and to come up with more solutions. The body does that to help you. And so if you are fearful, congratulations, you are now linking your business to your physical self, and you are able to use that adrenaline to drive towards more creative solutions, more energy, more decisions. It's great to have fear. Just use it. Don't be a victim of fear. Notice the fear. Use the fear. Use it. It's a gift.
Ótimo, Cheryl. Obrigada.
Great, Cheryl. Thank you. Cheryl, people is highly participative. So if you allow them, they'll be asking questions till tomorrow. This is evening already for us. They can stay late into the night asking questions, but I would like to thank those who are working in the background of this special meeting. And of course, I think there's a time to say goodbye as well. So unfortunately, we need to move towards the end. I know that it's terrible to be the timekeeper because we kind of disappoint people, but anyway, we have to do that. I would like to thank you on behalf of Technopuc and on behalf of the participants for all the knowledge you have shared with us. We are also getting messages on WhatsApp about how transforming this talk with you was for them. So I think it's important. We are already getting this feedback. And I would also like to thank the consulate for building.
Muito obrigada mesmo, é muito bom poder contar com alianças valiosas como essa, que nos possibilitam coisas tão legais como o que vocês nos possibilitaram hoje. E especialmente para os participantes do Garagem, né, que como a gente já esperava, eles estão aqui de corpo e alma, fizeram perguntas, interagiram contigo, e a gente sabia que eles seriam assim, porque eles sempre são assim, são muito participativos, e a gente acredita muito nessas equipes que estão aqui por causa disso, porque eles são empreendedores que realmente querem transformar, que se envolvem com as pessoas que passam por aqui, que querem aprender cada dia mais. Então, foi realmente um dia muito especial para a gente. E aí, Cheryl, talvez a gente possa administrar a última pergunta do Marcelo e deixar uma mensagem final tua, né?
Eu vou perguntar já?
Yeah, Marcelo.
Okay. So I want to thank you for the class and ask you if you have any advice to develop a good networking and keeping it.
Okay. So yes, I do. Thank you, Marcelo. Thank you for this question. This is a great question. This is my advice. In our startups today, they're all global. So I believe that the best thing is to join a global network. There are many, many global networks out there, and they're all online. Surely Technopuc has a network online. I also have one, Edison Forum. I also have It's Cheryl Edison at Facebook. If you join any network, just participate, because that's where you get the real value, when you step forward and you show yourself. And so I invite you to join my network free of charge, step forward into this community of the group, your cohort at Startup Garage of Technopuc. That's already a network. However, I invite you to step beyond Technopuc, beyond the Startup Garage as quickly as you can, because it's diversity of ideas that you can use to grow your business globally. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Okay. So link to me on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever. And I have my last comment. My last comment is, can I take a selfie? I want to take a selfie of us. Okay, so let's, if we all like this, come like this, more or less, and I'll post it on our Instagram. Hello, Manu. Okay, here we are. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. So that was really fun to be with you. Thank you, thank you. I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Muito obrigada, Cheryl. Até mais. Espero que a gente se encontre novamente em breve. Conta com o Technopuc sempre que quiser se conectar com a gente. Estamos abertos para você sempre, de portas abertas. E espero que em breve tu possas vir para Porto Alegre, para o Brasil, para nos visitar também. O convite está feito. Tchau, pessoal. Até o próximo encontro.
Thank you to the
Obrigada,
Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Thank you.